Welcome to the Pre Nup, the wedding-obsessed podcast designed to help you plan your dream day. I'm your host, Adriana, and each week I'm joined by the industry's top professionals, celebs, influencers, and friends who are sharing their best tips, advice, and mistakes they've made so you don't have to. The Pre Nup is a Love Stories TV podcast. You know I love having planners on the show to share inside details of how the sausage is made. And today's guest, Lara Mahler, is a New York City-based planner known for her imaginative style, out-of-the-box weddings, and stress-free approach. We're chatting about all the things we can do to take your wedding from good to best day ever. Welcome, Lara.
Hi.
Thank you for being here.
Oh my gosh, thank you for having me.
I'm so excited. Yeah.
So excited.
I love talking about this stuff because I feel like the number one thing that people will come to me with or I see conjecture online about is how can I make things different? How can I step outside of the norm? Because, you know, we have this like wedding formula that we go by.
Yeah.
And weddings can be wonderful and different and unique, but it kind of is always the same kind of
like almost like a template.
Template that we see. So
Yeah.
I want to talk to you about a few things today.
Yeah.
But before we get into kind of veering from that template, I want to get your ranking on a few things.
All right.
Concerning weddings, of course.
Let's do it.
Okay, so I want you to rank the importance from least to most.
Okay.
All right. Curating a guest list, choosing a venue, menu, entertainment, and attire.
Okay. So obviously this is a little personal to me,
Of
right?
course.
So,
but I think we trust your judgment.
Okay. So what's really important to me is guest experience.
Sure.
Right? So there is kind of like this conversation of like, is the wedding for the guests or is it for the couple? And ultimately, like if you are having a guest of 100+ people, you do have to kind of consider them in some way. So
Absolutely.
I might rank venue close to the top.
Okay.
Because you know, you want it to be comfortable.
Sure.
Depending on what your priorities are. Like I remember for me when I was getting married, like I really wanted an indoor-outdoor option.
Okay.
And so that was something that we tried to prioritize, which we didn't end up with. But I've been married 10 years as of yesterday, so I'm not gonna like
happy anniversary.
Thank you. I'm not gonna like, you know, get too kind of like nitpicky on that after 10 years. But, you know, is it going to hold all of your guests? Like, does it have the capacity?
Yes.
For some people, you know, having in-house catering is really important. So I would say like the venue is at the top.
Yeah, and not just the beauty and the aesthetics of it, but the practicality of it too.
Yeah.
Like you said, like people don't always think, is this going to make my guests comfortable? But you have to think about like when you sit your ass in a chair.
Totally.
Do they have AC? Like if there is an indoor-outdoor element.
Yes,
Are people going
bathrooms,
to-
where are they? Are they like on the third floor?
Yes.
Do guests have to like walk down the stairs?
Yep.
Like bar situation, like is the bar outside of the dance floor or
Yes.
inside of the room? Like just considering that I think is a priority.
And even with floor plan, like, are we going to be bottlenecked with the
Totally.
bar and where people are sitting? Like, these are things that when you're getting married, you're not necessarily thinking about because it's all the ooh and ah. But okay, so venue, you're going to put at the top of the list.
Yes.
Okay.
And then I would say like after that, curating your guest list, like, yeah, I always say, you know, to create kind of an ideal list from the get-go. So it's like, don't leave everybody out. Like, who would you want to have at your wedding day without leaving anybody out? And if it comes out to like 200 people, but you have a budget of like $60,000, like in New York City, that might not work. So you might be, it might not get you any far. I mean, then we would have to get really creative.
Yes.
But so then in that case, I might say that then you are looking to curate things a little bit. So you might say like, okay, we're only going to do +1s for people who are in relationships and not, you know, just anybody.
Sure.
You know, maybe we're not, I know this is like controversial, but like maybe we're not having children at the wedding.
It's not controversial here.
I know.
Listen, I'm fully cooked. I'm about to have one. Lara's got one. But like, it depends on the kind of wedding you're having. I'll say this. If you want kids at your wedding, then that is fabulous.
Yes.
But if you don't want kids at your wedding, I think that's a fine line to draw.
Yeah. I mean, we can have and I know that you've already like had this conversation about
I'll have
like
it a
children.
billion times
me too.
over.
I feel very like passionate about it. Love kids. I am a mom, but like, I don't know if I want my kid at the wedding. And I will say, like, I've been to weddings that have been on farms where they've had lawn games, where they've had like magicians. Like I've been a guest at weddings and that has felt amazing.
Yeah.
But in New York City, when you're like not necessarily with an outdoor space where there's candles everywhere and it's a tight space, it's not super like kid friendly.
And the drinks are flowing and there's white glove service and it's like, I'm sorry. No.
Right.
There's a time and a place. And like you
Totally.
said, if it's something that people want and the environment is conducive to children and it's welcomed, but then, it's like any guest. I don't care who you are. Like if I say no grandparents at the wedding, like there are no grandparents. It's up to the couple. And if people don't like it,
they don't have to come.
Correctamundo. Yeah. Absolutely. Okay, continue.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
So, sorry, what were the other?
Yes. So we have venue, curating, a guest list, and then the next three in no particular order yet, menu, entertainment, and attire.
Okay. I think menus, for me, pretty up there.
Okay.
I do feel like guests should be like well-fed and not leave hungry.
Yes.
You know, of course, everyone's tastes are different. So like what I think is delicious might not be delicious for other people. But I do think like the amount of food should be considered.
Yeah.
Like, you know.
What do you think about catering to dietary restrictions and allergies? Because there's just so many now. Yeah. So many people deal with them. And it's hard.
It is hard. It is hard. And of course, it depends on how many. Sure. Like if the majority of people are gluten-free, then we need to consider maybe like a vendor who like or a caterer who like specializes in something like that.
Sure.
But yeah, I mean, I kind of do think if you are going to invite folks that have allergies or dietary restrictions, I do think that there needs to be accommodation for them. Like I have worked a wedding where the caterer catered the food and then we like brought out like takeout for like folks who had dietary restrictions. And I was like, oh, that's kind of a bummer because they're being left out or they're not eating the same food that the rest of the guests are eating. And to me, that felt a little icky to me.
Yeah.
So I do think they need to be accommodated.
I think today, too, I sound like such a grandma, but there are people who deal with obvious, real allergies. And then there's someone like me who's like, I'm gluten sensitive, but I'm in the era of my life where if I'm at a party, like it's worth the little rash the next day that I'm going to get.
Totally.
So
I'll eat the pizza.
1,000%. So people with selective allergies, it's like, or people who are serious about it, they've dealt with this probably for a long time.
100%.
So they know how to navigate these things. I think we worry about it a lot more now just because it's more prevalent in conversation. But if you're having a party, like, I'm not going to call you and be like, hey, what's the food situation like? I'm probably going to prepare myself either for before or after or pack a little something with me.
Yes. And, if you have like celiacs or like an allergy that like requires an EpiPen, those are different conversations.
Yeah.
And hopefully the guest has kind of had that conversation and has maybe like prepared for it in advance. Yeah.
Because any caterer that I've worked with, usually, unless they're a specialty caterer, they'll say, we can make gluten-free accommodations, but we're not a gluten-free kitchen.
Yes,
so things get crossed over.
Exactly.
And people who really have those allergies know that and are cognizant of that. So like you can kind of tell when someone's being like, I'm gluten-free this week. Versus I have celiac and I will die.
Oh, this is a wedding in Italy. I will be... I mean, but even why would you want to be gluten-free? But
for that wedding, I'm not gluten-free. But for my cousin's wedding at the local hall, like maybe I am. You know,
exactly. And then for attire, this is totally personal. Like, if you are doing a black tie, obviously that is going to be important. So you will want to put it on your invitation. You will want to put it on your wedding website or like wherever information is getting crossed over to guests. So I would put that a little lower for me personally, but of course for others, if you are having, like a themed wedding or a black tie or a cocktail style or a beach wedding.
Yeah.
And also for some folks, like those photos are important to them. I've seen weddings that have been like all white. And so then in that case, attire is very important.
Mm-hmm.
But for me and for the sake of this list, I would put that
at the bottom.
At the bottom.
Okay,
Yeah.
so question for you about attire. A lot of people now will give a certain dress code or palette to their guests, like put it on their wedding website or invitation or however they want to share it. People have a big problem with this. I don't really understand why, but guests seem to have like an issue with someone telling them what color they should wear or style they should wear. To that I say, get the fuck over it. Like it's really, if you went to a costume party, like you would show up in costume.
Yeah,
but
100%.
For the couple who really is interested in having a certain sort of attire for themselves and their guests, how do you think it's best to convey that to guests without seeming like a crazy, like, it has to be my way?
Yeah. So I do think that the language needs to be very specific on the invitation.
Okay.
Even maybe on the save the date invitation wedding website. But I think in the end, people are going to interpret things the way that they're going to interpret it, right? And it might not be the way that you like it. The way that people also interpret black tie is going to be very different, right? So some people's version of black tie will be like a black ball gown.
Yeah.
And another person's, idea of black tie will be like a bright pink kind of shin length strapless dress.
Sure.
And,
there are definitely definitions to these things, and we talk about this a lot, like black tie versus black tie optional. Yeah. However,
but going off what you're saying, like in terms of like color palette, like if your wedding website does kind of have mood board inspiration, I think that that's super helpful. I think people will be like, oh, if they see a visual of something. Like I know for myself, if I'm being a part of a photo shoot and the photographer sends me like a little Pinterest board of, I mean, you don't need to go that far to like send your guests a Pinterest board, but like a mood board of like some colors, a couple like dress options. And then people are like, oh, cool, I'll go into this direction. But also in the end, guests are going to look at that and they're going to look at it differently. I mean, my grandmother might look at that and be like, okay, that's nice. I'm not doing that. I'm going to wear whatever I want to wear. Like your aunt might look at that and be like, cool, that's nice for someone who's in their like 30s and 40s, but like I'm not going to deal with that. People are going to look at that and be like, cool, that's great. Not for me. And some people are really going to roll with it. And I do think that in general in wedding planning, there needs to be like some flexibility and you can't like really hold on too tight to those things. I think you need to like pick the priorities, like pick the negotiables and the non-negotiables.
Yes.
And for me personally, I think that like attire is like not the hill I want to die on.
It's definitely not.
Yeah.
No. And it goes for everything in life, but definitely in wedding planning, you can only control what you can control.
100%.
And if you're not eloping, there are going to be other people there. And I liked what you said at the beginning. If you're having a 100-person wedding or even inviting any guests to anything, it doesn't matter whether it's your wedding or another event, you have to have their comfort, their preferences, I mean, to a certain extent, in mind.
Of course.
And you can't expect them to jump through hoops just because it's important to you. They might not see it that way.
Yeah.
So I think it's really a good point to make. Like you can make all the rules in the world, but is everyone going to follow them?
I mean,
maybe not.
I work with some couples who are just like, so for a cocktail hour, all of the guests are going to stay in this room. And then there's going to be a transition to this room, but there's like no wall or anything like dividing the space. And it's
and
like,
how do we expect that to happen?
And like I can put that in the timeline for you. We can plan for that. But ultimately, there are going to be people that feel tired and they like want to move over and they're going to want to take their seats during cocktail hour. And staff is going to like serve those guests at the table.
Sure.
Not everybody is going to be mingling. Like
unless there's a physical divider, you will not stop people from sitting.
And we can't control, like, we can't be like, oh, sorry, not time to sit. And you know, like,
no, my feet hurt. It's time to sit. It's time to sit for sure. Yeah, it's difficult because you envision things going a certain way, but without the help of, it's possible to do without a planner, for sure.
Yeah.
But without the help of a planner to help you visualize these things, you have to put yourself in the mindset of like, okay, am I, 72 years old and have I been standing for an hour and is there an available seat and like, I'm going to be sitting in it. And things like that always pop up with the wedding. And I think that's where people get really stressed and their expectations get really high. Yeah. But if you go into it, like the expectation is this is going to be beautiful, wonderful. We plan to the best of our ability and like, let's enjoy it.
Yeah. And it's a celebration between you two, like in the end. And also another thing too is that like, yes, it is a wedding, but I also think that people forget, like, you are hosting sometimes an 100+ person event.
It's a big deal.
It's huge.
Yeah.
And it's not like, besides it, being what everybody like sees, like all the like beautiful images and photos like on the internet and on social media that people see, but like behind the scenes, like this is a very like programmed and coordinated and like specifically executed day.
Yes.
That it's like so simple of like something so simple of like a toast.
Yeah.
What people don't know before the toast is that like the couple or the person saying the toast is like reminded 5 minutes before in case they like need to use the bathroom or get a drink. If that's running behind schedule, like we need to coordinate that with the band and with the DJ. Yeah. And then we're also coordinating, for the most part, toasts with food service. So we're coordinating that with the catering as well. So like for that one toast to happen, there's like so many coordination parts that I think people forget that like there is all of this planning and coordinating and execution that goes into it.
Yes. That's why I'm such a big proponent of, even if you're not going to do a planner, I say all the time, like, you got to have a coordinator. You have to do it.
Person.
You can't be the person doing that. Like, logistically,
well, no, absolutely not.
It's a nightmare.
No. And that's not what you want to be doing on your wedding day. No. And like, also think about it as, okay, think about how you would host people in your house or in your apartment, right? Like, you are the host of the event and you are most likely in the kitchen for the majority of the time prepping like the snacks, putting them out on the table, making sure everybody has their drinks. Like, oh, how are you doing? How is this doing? Oh, did the pizza arrive on time? Did the food arrive? Or like whatever you're doing, right? You're decorating the space. You're cleaning it up at the end of the night. Like, that is what you're doing when you are hosting. So now when you're hosting like an event at your house.
Yes.
So now like take that, add about 100 more people, add 10+ more vendors, add a space that's not your house. So you're not like familiar with the space and the ins and outs of everything and like the rules and the policies that happen in the space. Do you want to like be managing that on the day of?
No, at your
Absolutely
wedding,
not.
whether or not you're paying for it, when you're at your wedding, you want to be the guest of honor, not the host. Like the planner,
that role gets
yes, you hire someone to host on your behalf, and you're still greeting people, and you have some of those host like duties because you've invited them and they are there for you. You need to be respectful of everybody. You can't just say like, no, I'm not going to greet my guests. I'm just going to go party and eat all night. No, that's not part of the gig. However, you're not going to be, in the back. You're not going to be serving hors d'oeuvres or any of that stuff. Quick question about entertainment, because that was, I think that prioritizes, like, attire's the bottom of the list.
Oh,
but
yes.
So in terms of music is necessary regardless.
Yeah.
Not everyone needs to do dancing, and that's totally fine. What do you prefer, or does it depend always? Band or DJ?
Okay. I love a band.
Yeah, me too.
So I'm going to say band.
Okay.
But I'm also going to preface it with a DJ is an amazing option.
It is.
For if you don't have it in your budget for a band.
And even for space purposes. Like sometimes you have a space that just is not
allow
conducive
for
to a
it.
band. Yeah.
100%.
Acoustically or even just in the physical space.
100%. There's also like a hybrid option. So like if people are like, oh, but I love the DJ for like this like kind of like club energy vibe. And if that's like the vibe that you're going for, like New York City kind of like club scene, I mean, DJ all the way, right? But there is this really amazing kind of like live energy that a band brings to the table. But I also know, and I know that my husband felt this way when we were planning our wedding. Like he wanted every song that was going to be played to not feel like a cover.
Yeah.
And like with a band, they're essentially covers of like your favorite songs, right? And so in our case, we did a band and then like we did the last hour of the wedding a DJ. So like you can do a hybrid. So like the last, hour of your wedding kind of like feels like this like after party club feel.
Love it.
And then, you have, and then there's also, you can do like strings. So like for ceremony cocktail hour and as guests are entering, you can do like a very small intimate band, like 3-4 piece, and then just do DJ. So yeah, I would say I do love live energy, but I also understand that it does depend on like the vibe that you're going for, space constraints, budget constraints, and a DJ is amazing.
Yeah, and I think people have a certain idea about DJs that they're maybe like cheesy or whatever, and there are still certainly cheesy wedding DJs, but there are so many incredible MCs and entertainment companies that really make you feel like it's an event. It's not just like someone behind, pushing a button, playing music. Like,
yeah. And many couples that we work with, when they are going the DJ route, they're often like, we don't want, that stereotypical like wedding DJ. They are looking for people who have had that background in like the New York City scene.
Yes.
Who have been like, want to hear a little bit of like club mix or like even maybe they're like still working kind of like in the club scene and they kind of like do weddings on the side. They're like interested in that.
Yeah.
They don't want crazy MCs. Like they don't want like everybody up on the dance floor.
No,
they
and
just
like someone
want
playing the
it to
cha-cha
be,
slide.
Yeah,
it's not gonna
they're
work.
just looking for like, good music, bring people onto the table. Well, maybe on the table.
Yeah, I want to see more people on the tables.
And on the bar. I do want to see that too.
Absolutely.
Onto the dance floor.
As long as it's safe, I am so down for it.
Yeah.
Okay. I totally agree with this. Yeah, I think the entertainment is it's hard to make the decision, but I think there are a lot of different options. And even, as you said, hybrid options, not just doing like both band and DJ, but there are some entertainment companies that have like the electric sax that come and the drums, but there's also a track and it's a much smaller level of commitment than like a 12-piece band. Yes. But you still get that element of like someone's coming out.
Yeah, onto the dance floor, getting people going. Yeah, I love that.
So are most of the weddings that you do in New York City?
Yes. So tri-state area, upstate New Jersey,
do you ever do destination stuff?
We've had many inquiries for like the most recent one was Switzerland, and I was like,
oh my gosh.
But I think people forget that they need to like pay for travel, and lodging.
Correct. Yes, it's quite the expense.
Yeah, I think people forget about that.
If you're going to use a planner, which I think you definitely should if you're doing a destination wedding, you kind of need someone who's not only like here with you, able to do it, but a liaison to someone in that other country, especially if you don't speak the language, you're not super familiar with the culture. Like you were just telling me before we recorded, you have family in Italy, and it's a little bit different when you have like feet on the ground there. But if you're like, no, we just love France and that's like our dream to get married there, there's a lot of pieces to put together to make that happen.
Totally. And like every destination is different, right? Like I'm from Toronto, and when I talk to like other wedding planners in Toronto and I tell them the way that, we do things in New York, they're like, that's intense. And
so
I'm like,
what's the biggest difference would you see? Because New York is a little bit on a different scale than Jersey, but between New York weddings and like, let's just say between New York and Toronto.
Yeah.
What are some of the differences that you see?
I don't think it's so much like the difference in like the amount of vendors, or I think it's just the amount of detail and like communication that we, I do think that, and this is not for anyone, I'm generalizing.
Yeah.
But I think like the New York City couple, from what I see, and for the past nearly a decade, what I've seen is like there is this like level of communication and that just folks expect from vendors.
Yeah.
And I think that if that doesn't happen, or if they don't see that, or like a level of transparency, then they kind of like move on to the next, because they know, especially in New York City, just like by sheer population, there's so many vendors. There's a vendor for everybody here.
Yes.
So they're kind of just like, all right, if this person isn't getting back to me, or if I don't see like their pricing anywhere visible, like I'm just going to move on to the next.
Totally.
And so I think like in communicating with vendors or venues, we are doing a wedding in Toronto or outside of Toronto. And it really is just like the amount of times that we're like emailing them. And they're like, your wedding isn't for like another 6 months. And I'm like, I totally understand.
Yeah.
But I'm just curious about like what the ceremony is going to look like, because we want to coordinate that with the florals, and we want to coordinate like how we're going to repurpose those ceremony flowers like into the reception. So we would love to just get a sense of like how many seats you're going to have in the row, how far back it's going.
Absolutely.
And they're just like, well, we don't really know because the outdoor space, and it's like, okay, like, yeah.
But you're so used to it, especially because New York City, especially, but any city that you're getting married in, any big city, there's another layer of logistics that go into it about like where you can go and how you can get there and how long it's going to take and the cushion time and all of these things.
Yeah. And if you're getting married, on an island, then we need to talk about like what that what that kind of like transportation looks like for guests, but also like where they're staying. Like, what does that look like? And that all of that is different than New York City, especially if you're having a city wedding. Like, folks can take an Uber or they can take the subway. Like and maybe we're going to have a bus or a shuttle if like the after party is maybe somewhere else and you want to, do that for your guests. But for the most part, like lots of people in the city are just doing like Uber codes, and they're just kind of, using that.
Yeah.
But yeah, for destination, it's just a different level of like communication and coordination.
It is definitely.
Yeah.
Okay. So let's get to the actual anatomy of the wedding.
Yes.
So I just want to know from you, as we go through each facet of the wedding, how we can really just pump it up and make it a little bit bigger, a little bit better, or just different, more personalized, more custom to the couple. So standard formula for a wedding, I'll say, is we start with ceremony, cocktail, formalities, so intros, dances, speeches, toasts, dinner service, dancing, conclusion of the evening.
Yep. That's it. That's like the template of the wedding.
That's the template. Yeah. So let's start from the beginning at ceremony, or even before if you want to go there. How can we kind of shift this on its axis a little bit, make it a little bit more fun, make it a little bit more unique?
Yeah. So I mean, I would even start before like at getting ready, right? Because there is this whole thing, and it was like this for me when I was planning my wedding. I was like, I cannot see my fiance. And I'm like, I mean, and now I'm kind of just like, let's look at our wedding day as if it were any other day, right? So what would you do on any given Saturday, right? You would likely wake up with your partner. Maybe you would go for brunch. Maybe if you're like really into yoga together, like you would go do a yoga class. Maybe you would come back to your apartment, you would get ready. Maybe you would go drive to the beach. I don't know. I'm just making things up.
Sure.
But for a lot of people, changing the routine of their day on their wedding day, which is already an emotionally stressful day, gives people anxiety, right?
Yeah.
It's like, why would you change the structure of your day on the most stressful day of your life and like emotionally charged day?
Sure.
Let's keep it the same. So like sometimes I tell them like, don't change that. Like, don't add extra anxiety or stress to your day. Like, wake up with your partner.
Yeah.
Do the things that you would do with them. Make breakfast. Maybe go for a walk, and then come back, and then maybe you go your separate ways and go get your hair and makeup done with your friends and maybe the guys, go do something else.
Sure.
And then, come together for your first look or like whatever you decide. So that can be a different way of kind of how you wake up in the morning. But that also like might excite you a little bit more and kind of like put you at ease. And like I was saying, like yesterday was our 10th wedding anniversary, and I was talking with my husband like 9 o'clock in the morning. I was like, oh, what were you doing? And he was like, oh, waking up and feeling like so anxious because like I had stayed at a hotel. And I'm like, oh, that's so crappy. Like, why would we have done that? Why not just wake up together and like feel good and not anxious and then go our separate ways after that?
If it doesn't feel good, then why
are we doing that?
If you love it and like that's what you want, that's fabulous. And sometimes there's certain cultural things like South Asian weddings.
Of course,
they're going to start
100%.
early. We have like the ceremony. We have to be up at 5 a.m. And if there's cultural elements, I do get it.
100%.
But even in Catholic, Catholic ceremonies typically like, and we were the early birds. It was a 1 o'clock ceremony, so like I still had. I got up at 5, but why?
Yeah.
It wasn't necessary.
Yeah.
And even the idea of getting ready, everyone together. Again, like I'm a girl's girl. I do kind of like that whole
Me too.
sleepover vibe.
I love that vibe too. Yeah.
But if you're not super into that and you like having a big group of girls all getting ready together, to me, that's comforting. To a lot of people, that would be extremely stressful, and I totally get that.
Yes. And I think that that's the point. The point is that, like, if it's giving you anxiety, don't do it. If it's exciting for you, do it.
Yeah.
Like, if it gives your partner anxiety that they're not going to be waking up next to you on your wedding day, don't do it. Don't do it.
Yeah. Like, I think it's so funny, too, when people are like, oh, like my parents are like, well, you can't do it that way. What do they?
They had their wedding.
Do they really care? Like, do they really care if you guys are going to see each other before the wedding?
Yeah.
Are they that superstitious? If so, like, that's another issue. But
and then it's also like, let's talk about this.
Yeah.
Let's talk about what that tradition was, like historically.
Yeah.
Like that. We're not there anymore.
No.
So like. Yes, and of course we've like moved away from that, and now it's just like, oh, we don't see each other because it's like cute for photos because we can do a first look. I get all of that, and like I'm into it. I'm like you, like it excites me to like be with all of my girlfriends and like and do all of that. But like I've talked with so many couples where it's just like, how can we do this a different way? Because this stresses me out. And it's like, don't do it if it stresses you out. Let's find another way. And this is like a new tradition. This is like a new way of how you can do things.
Yes.
Right? And I think people want to do things differently. And this is like the point of this conversation. It's like people want to do things differently, but they don't know what to do. And they don't know that it's almost like they just need permission to do it. And they need different options. They need to know what other people have done differently to feel okay to do it differently themselves.
Yes, absolutely, 1,000%. And not to deter, professional makeup artists or hairstylists. But but I guess in the past 10 years, it was like, you always got it because like that's what you do. But now people are like experts at their own face and they do their own makeup really well. And I would still to this day like hire a professional just because I think, I don't know.
Well, it's like how many times in a year do you get your hair and makeup professionally done?
Exactly.
Practically never.
And it usually looks like really good when they do it. So it's exciting. Yeah. But maybe your bridesmaids don't feel that way. Maybe it's just the bride who needs to get their makeup done. But your bridesmaid can do her lashes and all the things, and she can get ready separate and come and meet you.
Yeah, and that also saves money. Like then we're going in the direction of like budget. It's like if we're looking at ways to save money, like that's a way.
It's a big one. It's a big one.
Because hair and makeup, it can get up there. Yeah. And that could be a way. So that's where I would start.
Okay.
For ceremony.
Yeah, so let's just talk about, I guess, non-denominational ceremonies, the standard, because I know there's a religious element too, but a lot of times we're seeing, I would say more often than not, we're seeing like a 15 to 25 minute non-denominational ceremony that kind of follows this same formula every time.
Yes, and Agree. But also for folks who choose to get married in churches or in their place of worship, like we're also seeing something really cool there where it's like they're using their ceremony as like a way to honor their family and their upbringing. And then they're doing something like really cool where it's like, okay, I'm going to get married in a church because this is like where I grew up maybe, or like this is like honoring my family or my grandparents. And then we're just going to like rage at like a Brooklyn hotel.
Yes.
And you're seeing two different ways. You're seeing kind of like the old world way of doing things, which is very beautiful and traditional. And then you're seeing like this new modern way. And then you're seeing the couple, like how they interact with their family and their friends, what's important to them, the food that they're eating, the drinks, their signature drinks, so the way that they're decorating the space. And that is like really lovely also.
It really is, because it's giving honor to both families and homage to like a way in which you grew up, or
like how their parents got married or how their grandparents got married. And that's really beautiful. And that's also like a way of like incorporating your traditions. If you don't want to get too traditional in the reception, you know, you can make that kind of like your traditional element.
Yes.
But okay. And then for folks who like get married in their venue, let's say, what I've seen, which is really cool, was guests enter into the space and go right into cocktail hour. So guests come in and guests have like an hour to like enter into the space because it's cocktail hour. So like drinks are already flowing, small bites, and they're not going too crazy on those small bites. So they might have like an oyster bar or maybe like a little sushi bar with like one or two past hors d'oeuvres and drinks. And then they go right into dinner. And then from dinner, they go into the ceremony space, have their ceremony, and then the ceremony kind of like kicks off the dance floor.
Oh, I like that.
It's cool,
I like
right?
that. Yes. I really like that method of doing it, because when people come in, they're kind of waiting for ceremony to be done so they can get to the good stuff.
Right. And nothing is really like open. It's like the bar isn't open. The only thing that's being passed is like water, sparkling water, maybe some Prosecco.
Yeah.
And then there's like no food and everyone's kind of like, what? And then all of a sudden.
Yeah. And maybe we've traveled far and wide, and maybe some of us have put lipstick on and can't eat anything because it'll be in their teeth and then we can't brush. And it's like, it's a whole thing. So we're looking forward to getting that little bite or
And there's also
drink.
like latecomers sometimes.
Totally.
So like some people like are late to the ceremony and they're sitting in the back.
You don't want people missing the ceremony. And yes, of course, in an ideal world, like we're all going to be on time, but things happen, you know, life happens. So wouldn't you rather them miss like, I don't know, that first hour, like you say, of that traditional cocktail hour type thing, and then come in for dinner. And if you are doing a non-denominational ceremony, I always recommend like keep it short. And this way, you know, people are kind of looking forward to it and you're not losing people. And then I love that. I love going right into dancing.
Yeah. And then another way can be like cocktail hour ceremony and dinner and dancing.
I just like the first one a lot, only because you know better than anyone. It's just so hard to wrangle people, you know?
Yes.
Once they're up and they're moving and they're talking, it's like kids at a pep rally. It's like, get your ass in the seat or go to one location. And it's hard. It's hard to stay on timeline with those kinds of things. But if you have, you know, your dinner and then your ceremony, it's like, all right, we've been sitting.
People are also like a little like they've had some cocktails, you know? So like the ceremony, in my experience with this particular wedding that I'm thinking about, is like the ceremony was like really fun.
Yeah.
They were like having a good time. There was a lot of laughing and there was like a lot of joy in it, partially because they like had many glasses of wine.
Sure.
But they weren't hungry. Like they were like, I feel good. Like they got into it.
The nerves for the couple too.
Totally. And then that couple had like a brass band, like a second line them from the ceremony back onto the dance floor.
Love it.
And then they like kicked it off. So that was really cool. I was into that. And I like often think about that as like a way of doing things different because it worked really well. Like it wasn't a scenario where I was like, that did not work. It was a scenario where I was like, oh, that was cool. Like that worked.
It worked. Yeah. Okay. So cocktail, we kind of touched on just in the flip flop of like ceremony and cocktail, but cocktail hour, typically, you know, we have our high top tables, maybe we have some stations, we have some past hors d'oeuvres. We're usually doing that for about an hour and people love it. Like I think some things you don't have to mess with too much, but have you done or seen anything in cocktail that you really loved that was a little bit outside the box?
Yeah, I think cocktail hour is a great opportunity for, you know, you can extend the cocktail hour a little bit if you wanted to. Like you can do like a 90-minute, and that can be an opportunity where you get all of your toasts done there.
I love it.
And it's also a great opportunity to like do some like activations. Like if you are going to have like a fortune teller or like, of course, like those can be done late at night, but I have seen like, you know, a poet, like a poetry kind of like typewriting kind of like station where like people can go over, like they grab a drink and they just go over there and they sit down.
That's cute.
Yeah. You know, doing like having like your photo booth like during that cocktail hour could be really fun. I know people like it maybe at the end of the night, like on the dance floor. Of course, that's an option, but I'm just saying like we can use that as an opportunity to kind of like have moments of like bringing people together and talking to people a little bit more. We could use that hour for that. Yeah. And also extend it if you want to.
I really like your idea of doing the toasts during cocktail hour because people are still able to mingle and move. And, you know, you want to make sure that someone's being heard while they're giving their toast. But speeches and toasts are so hit or miss for me. Yeah. And I think a lot of times it's really unfair to guests when someone is taking advantage of their speech toast time if they're not the host or the guest of honor. And sometimes you're sitting there for like 25 minutes. It's rude to get up, but like this person's rude. They're wasting the whole night. So I love the toast during cocktail. I think that's a really good idea.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's worked another scenario where it's like, oh, this works. So,
absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay. So let's touch on the formalities. We have intros, first dances, and then we did just talk about toasts, but like what are you seeing with intros? Because I have some opinions on this, but I want to hear yours.
Yeah, many people are not doing like full wedding party intro. You know, I'm Italian, grew up going to like, you know, big Italian weddings where the intro was like father of the bride, like parents of the couple, like wedding party, and then the bride, and they're like dancing in, and they get on the dance floor, and that's still still happens, and that's great. But we're not seeing, or I'm not seeing that much anymore. You know, I'm also not seeing many wedding parties anymore, or like very small wedding parties.
Less formal wedding parties.
Yeah,
even.
Exactly.
Maybe you're getting ready together, and maybe your closest friends and family are sitting in that front row, but maybe not standing with you. They're not being necessarily introduced, because at the end of the day, like this might hurt some people's feelings, but like no one cares about the wedding party, and it's nice to see them and whoever's going to give a speech, like whatever. But it's about the couple. It doesn't have to be this whole thing, especially individuals. Like if you're going to say, you know, and this is the wedding party and they all come out together, I like that a little bit better. But I think you're right. I think just having the couple introduced is like, that's the way to do it.
Yeah. And I also see couples like expressing that gives them anxiety. Like that's something like this, like very like weddings can feel very performative. And if you're not a performer, then that is stressful. Yeah. So when I got married, like my husband was like, no intros. And I was kind of like, all right. I was like, okay, like what's a different way? And for us, what we did was, okay, after the ceremony was over, we took 15 minutes to just like chill out. And then we like entered into the cocktail hour quietly. And then we were just like seated with our guests.
Love it. I love it. Yeah. It doesn't need to be
It doesn't need to be this whole thing. You could just like walk in with them, like as you're talking with your guests, and it doesn't need to be this whole thing. And then you're seated. And if you do want a moment of, if you are someone who likes that kind of like performance element. I don't want to say like performance because I don't want people to feel like they like attention.
No, it's okay to like attention.
I mean,
it's okay. You shouldn't feel bad if you like it. A lot of people don't like it, but if you do like it, like it's totally okay.
And that could be like a moment for you to welcome your guests in. And you could even start toast then, right? Yeah. Like guests can come in, sit down, the couple like welcomes everybody into the space, and then we go into like rounds of toast like before food service.
Yeah.
And that can be an option as well. Yeah,
I'm even seeing people forego the first dance like altogether, which again, if you're not dancers and like you don't need that to solidify anything, don't do it.
Yeah, and actually we're working with a few couples where they're choosing to have a first dance but have the DJ or band kind of just like play it in a time that like works in the dance set. Yeah. And then the couple will just like come onto the dance floor and do it. So it's not going to be announced, but as soon as they hear their song, they'll know it's theirs and they go on. And like the photographer will know what song it is and get photos. Perfect. So like things don't have to be announced all the time. Things can just happen organically. But again, this is when like a really good timeline comes in.
Exactly.
And this is when your day of coordinator or your wedding planner, this is when their job is.
Because after a couple drinks, maybe
you
will
don't
miss
forget.
it if someone's not really holding your hand and saying, okay, like you guys can cut your cake privately. You don't have to roll it out to the center of the dance floor so everyone stops what they're doing and sees you.
Exactly.
Okay. So lastly, let's just get to like the conclusion of the event. So sometimes we'll see an after party or something, but what's a good way to just wrap up the evening?
I love bringing like fun foods in. I do love like a good food truck, a good dessert truck. I like desserts that really, I'm overall just very into representing yourselves as a couple in a way where people are going to be like, oh my God, that was so them.
Yep.
You know? And I think that ultimately, like, that's what's going to make a really unique wedding is thinking about yourselves, what you're really into, what art you love, what music you love, like what movies you love, what books you love, like what you love to do on the weekend, and like incorporating those things because not everybody likes the same thing you do, so not everybody's going to have those things at their wedding. Sure. That's what the unique part is.
Yeah.
And I'm always just like, you have the ingredients to your own wedding. Like what you see on Pinterest is like beautiful and wonderful. Sometimes they're not real weddings, and that's somebody else's inspo. Yeah. That's not yours. Yep. So when it comes to like the end of the night, like what bar foods like do you love at the end of the night? Like we're working with a couple who like for cocktail hour, their signature drink is like literally a can of beer. So like they're just going to be like walking around with like cans of beer. And so it's cute. Like, that's cute. Like when you go out to a bar, like if that's your drink, like if that's the drink that you constantly order, make that your signature drink. Absolutely. That's hilarious. Yeah, you don't have to
try to find like some honeydew, whatever.
Exactly. If that's like not what you drink on a regular.
Adorable. Right. I love that.
And if you're like a red wine drinker and like that's your drink of choice, make it a can of beer and a glass of red wine.
Obsessed. Like, and you'll please a lot of people that way.
Totally. And that's just like a fun little touch, you know? So yeah, I'm a big fan of just bringing in like Junior's cheesecakes, like if you're getting married in New York, like very kind of like New York vibe food, like pizzas, Shake Shack, McDonald's. And I think that that's like a really fun experience for people as well, even especially if they're not from New York.
Yeah, I like that too. That's a really good way to wrap up the night. Okay, so I want to get to our premarital counseling session.
I love this so much.
For anyone who doesn't know, premarital counseling here at the Pre Nup, our listeners write in. They sometimes have questions or concerns about their wedding, and we try to help them navigate those. So we have a an expert here today. I'm glad you're here for this one. But we always keep it anonymous. I always like to offer the guest to choose the name for this person, but if it's too much pressure, we'll pull something out of the hat.
So you mean for the question?
Yeah, we give them a name so that we can address them. They'll know by their inquiry, but
Sophia.
Okay, Sophia. All right. We're gonna read Sophia's inquiry and then we're gonna hop her out. All right.
I love this.
Sophia says, "Hi, I love your podcast and would love to hear your thoughts on this. Is there such a thing as, quote, giving a gift within a year of the wedding, unquote? A friend just got married and invited a guest who gave no gift. My friend thought she misplaced the gift, and when she asked the guest, who didn't give the gift, she said, I don't give gifts at weddings. She's done this with other friends of ours and has claimed she, quote, still has months to give a gift, unquote. She has also not given gifts and canceled the day of the wedding with other friends of ours. So the couple had to eat the cost of her plate. Mind you, I'm old school Italian and not used to guests giving gifts after weddings, but is this a thing or is it BS? I want to clarify that the couple is not looking for or expecting gifts, but is wondering if giving a gift within the year of the wedding is a popular thing. Thank you."
Okay, so I love this so much. I'm going to first address...
There's so much to address here.
Yeah. I'm going to first address canceling like the day of the wedding or like the day before the wedding.
Oh my God, Lara, that was just my first thought. I was like, how is this person still getting invited anywhere?
Yeah, I was like, whose friend is she still?
Get rid of this person.
Because that's not cool.
No.
If you've RSVP'd, like, of course things come up. Like, especially now, like, with, like, pre-COVID or post-COVID, I should say, like, things happen. People get sick.
Sure.
And they cancel, and that stinks.
Yeah.
But, like, if it's happened more than one time, I'm...
Red ass
flag. I'm thinking she's just doing it because, like, something came up and she just, like, doesn't want to come. That stinks.
Yeah.
And weddings do cost a lot of money. And, you know, at minimum, you know, a person's plate's $100. That's minimum. That's like...
Totally.
You know, minimum. So, and that sucks, you know, because then that also just, like, rearranges everything. That, like, you've most likely printed a seating chart and, like, escort cards. You've created a floor plan. You've assigned them a seat. So it's, like, not only are you eating that cost, but there's, like, other logistical things throughout the day that, like, it's affected. That stinks. About the gift, believe it or not, it is a thing that you have, like, etiquette-wise, you do have a year to give a gift.
Yeah.
I'm not sure
if
it's
a weird
It's
rule.
weird.
I know. This is so funny that this came up because I was just talking about this with someone. It's like, yeah, etiquette says yes, but, like, society?
Yeah, I've
modern
never...
society saes no, that's bizarre.
Yeah. On the other hand, you know, they did say in this that you know, the bride is not expecting a gift, and, like, you know, we shouldn't.
Sure.
We shouldn't plan a wedding with the assumption that, like, we are going to get all of our money back because
honey,
we're not.
No,
because
it's not possible.
Sometimes per person it's like $325 per person, and $325 is a lot of money. We can't assume that, like, they're going to pay their plate.
Correct.
Because what are they going to do? Like, ask the bride, like, hey, just checking in. Like, how much did you spend on this wedding? Because I want to make sure that I'm giving a gift that covers my plate.
Exactly.
Like, we just can't do that.
Yeah.
So you give what you can, right? And that's the gift. If, you know, you can't give a gift, if it's not in, like, your means to give a gift,
a monetary gift, like, you can gift something else.
From a registry, from something else, maybe an experience, maybe, like, a gift card to a restaurant, like, something, right?
I had someone give a handmade card at my wedding.
Me too. Me too.
I was not expecting anything of this person.
Yep.
And they clearly put a lot of time and effort into the card. And I thought that was wonderful. And but it's just the gesture.
Totally. And you know what? There are certain stages of life, right, when our friends were getting married, we were in our, mid-20s where we're just like figuring things out, don't really have that much money, and you give what you can, right? And now if we are invited to a wedding, we give a little bit more because we can, right?
Yeah.
So we do understand that like there are guests that give what they can. So it was nice to hear in that, the bride is not expecting it, but like she felt like maybe she missed something. Like, did something get lost?
That's the
like,
scary part.
Did something, so, you just ask.
Yeah.
But yeah, so etiquette does say that you do have a year. It does feel weird that maybe.
Also, I'm sorry to cut you off.
That's okay.
But I'm just thinking about this too because, you also have, per etiquette, a year, quote, a year to send thank you cards. But it's like, what am I thanking you for attending? Like if you are giving a gift or a gift got lost or something, like it's awkward.
Yeah.
I'm not mentioning a gift. I'm just mentioning your presence at the wedding. So now it's like we're in a weird position.
Yes. Yeah, totally. And then also it's like, well, after the year, it's like just give what you can, right? Yeah. In that moment. Right. And if it's not a lot and you feel bad about that, then maybe 5 months down the line, you write a card or give something out. Like, I don't know.
Yes.
To me, it's just kind of like
have AI write you a poem. Do something. Do anything. We have a lot of access to things now.
These days.
You have to do a little something.
Yeah, it is a funky etiquette thing.
Yeah. Some of the etiquette rules, like, yes, while technically this person is correct. Yeah. And it's not bullshit. Like, I'm sure she heard this somewhere and like abided by this. Yeah. And, I don't think she's being facetious or malicious, but it's.
Yeah, but also saying like, oh, I don't give gifts at weddings feels weird. Like they could have said like, at this moment, I can't give what I want to give. Right. So I just need a few more months to or give what I can.
I have something that's being shipped to the house. Like there's a way in which to say it. And I think this person has rather missed the mark.
And again, if you compare it to hosting something at your house, like, most often than not, folks that go over to your house will like bring you a bottle of wine or like some dessert, like bring something.
Could you, you're Italian, so but like, can you imagine showing up to someone's home empty-handed? Like,
well, but then on top of that, just being like, I don't give things at the event. I will do it after. Like, it's a potluck. I will give the item after. Right, I mean, maybe that's a silly example, but it's not. Showing up at somebody's house for like a dinner party, but being like, I don't give the bottle of wine at the dinner party. I have like a couple months to give that. I think that people need to like their wedding is an extension of like themselves and like how they would host outside of their home. Yes. Right? So,
and listen, I'm not better than anyone else. I have forgotten cards at home and had to mail them and but same. Like the first thing I say is like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. I'm such a piece of shit. Like I forgot your card. Yeah. It is written out. It's filled. Yeah. It's being sent, whatever gift you're giving. But yeah, I think that you're right to feel a certain way about this. While she's technically correct, Sophia. But we do thank you for writing in. And I hope this cleared some stuff up. Let's see, where are we? Oh, okay. Because we only have 2 minutes left. We can roll through our after party really quick. We're going to finish with our after party, which is the way we always end our podcast. These are just like little rapid fire questions. But all right, Lara, top honeymoon recommendation.
I mean, anywhere where you don't have to do anything.
Yes.
Whatever. Like
an island somewhere.
An island somewhere where you don't have to plan anything or organize anything and everything is just all there for you.
Fabulous. Yeah. All right. I already asked you band or DJ, so I know your answer.
Yeah,
band. What song would get you on the dance floor at a wedding?
Robin dancing on my own.
It's such a good song. Oh my God, it's so good. Okay. Your signature cocktail or mocktail?
Oh, I love like a dirty martini.
Sexy. If you could invite any living dream guest to your wedding, who would you invite?
Honestly, Snoop Dogg.
Oh, that's a good one. No one's ever said Snoop Dogg.
Snoop Dogg.
He would be such a vibe. Oh my gosh.
He would be so fun.
Yeah.
Also, I want to ask him so many questions.
I have a lot of questions for Snoop now that you mention it too. Yeah. And I didn't know that I did until you said.
I don't know if you know this, but Snoop Dogg has like a children's.
I do know this. Oh my gosh, wait, Snoop Dogg,
so good.
The affirmation song.
Yes.
I'll cry my eyes out.
But if you look it up on YouTube, like it's such a blast. And I'm like, this is awesome. Snoop Dogg's the best.
He's such a little
And
king.
he would just bring so much life to the party.
He would. And get everyone high, which would be great. I think a lot of people would need that at a wedding. Okay, and then Lara, one hot take or tip for brides or couples.
I mean, I think I've said this before, but like, this is take you as a whole and as like a couple and of course individually and like really infuse those things that are personal to you into your wedding.
Mm-hmm.
Like, so try not to get too stuck in like the Pinterest, Instagram, what people are saying they're doing and they're not doing, and really just like focus on what is true to you. Mm-hmm. And if like decisions are like stressing you out, don't do them.
Okay. Yes. You've given us so much today. This was such a fully packed episode. I loved it.
Good.
Tell everyone where they can find The Privilege is Mine. Or yes, The Privilege is Mine.
Yeah.
My brain keeps saying
don't worry.
pleasure. Okay.
Yes, that's okay.
The Privilege is Mine and your new platform, Altair. So exciting stuff.
Yes. So you can find us on @TPIM Weddings and @Join Altair. Altair is a wedding planning app, literally launching on September 23rd. So
exciting things. Exciting things. So you'll have access to it by the time this comes out, which will be really exciting. But I so appreciate you doing this. Thank you so much for coming on. You're welcome back anytime.
Thank you so much.
Thanks for tuning into The Pre Nup. Don't forget to subscribe and leave us a review on your favorite podcast platform or on the Love Stories TV YouTube channel. Follow @the_pre_nup and @Love Stories TV on Instagram for more. Have feedback or suggestions for the next episode? Feel free to reach out to us at podcast@lovestoriestv.com.